you show up helps you go up. Passionate, powerful, disciplined, and fun. My life is so rich because of God's Son. I share Mary Kay with women and men of quality, and that is how you claim the position as an NSD, leading women with purpose, with a vision, and with a plan. With 10 brand new sales directors on that seminar stage, we will stand looking sugar sharp and fine in our national sales director suits. The freedom, the flexibility others dream of, and did they tell you about all the loot? The path has been laid and the mission is clear. We are stepping into that diamond circle position this year, for it is our season and it is our day. A fresh anointing is truly flowing my and your way. The best is yet to come, on that you can bet. And guess what? You ain't seen nothing yet. I am that pink Escalade driving and diamond circle striving national sales director, Caterina Harris Earl of the Solid as a Rock. Isn't this amazing? Thank you to my virtual assistant, Christy Bourgeois, the Solid as a Rock national area. And I am super excited to be able to take a little bit of time and share with y'all. Oh my gosh, setting my timer to make sure I don't go over here. We're talking about being a boss, babe, and we're talking about taking a risk. And some of you are listening to this, and you are feeling like a boss. And some of you are watching this, and you're looking for the inspiration that you need to dig deep, to be your best and break your record. You know, there have been times in my business that I was having my best year ever. And then I remember coming out of the gate and being a $500,000 director immediately. And then I remember taking several years before I passed that record again. And so I want to tell you that everything I have achieved in this business has been directly proportionate to the risks I've taken. You know, we work with a brand new consultant, and we ask her to take a risk with inventory, to take a risk with inviting her friends, to take all these risks. But sometimes proportionately, with her having no information, sometimes if you compare the risks that you're willing to or unwilling to take every single day, sometimes that might be you might not be willing to do what you're asking others to do. And so I'm challenging you to take risks. Some of the risks that I've taken along the way, oh my gosh, I remember Shirley Hutton, my national sales director, challenged me to travel on a good weekly accomplishment sheet as a single woman with no one else to support me. And if you watch the consultant version, you got a little bit about how I took a leave of absence and never went back to my job, came out of DIQ and became a sales director and claimed my Cadillac 3 months later. It was just me, just my income, nobody else. I had to make this work. Are you kidding me? I had walked away from a good job. She said, my national said, when you see success on a weekly accomplishment sheet, travel. This is BC, before cell phones, before computers, before we could jump on Zoom. I would literally get on an airplane and go to places that I'd never been, drive to places I'd never been, the stories I could tell you, spend plane ticket money that wasn't budgeted, but I traveled on a weekly accomplishment sheet to believe in someone. Another risk was hiring help. When I was a DIQ, I'm embarrassed to say it because most people are not willing to do this, but I had help 40 hours a week. Can you believe it? I was in grad school 60 hours. I was working 60 hours a week, and I was in grad school, and I was active in church, volunteer coordinator for a political campaign, and I was becoming a sales director. I paid someone way back then, probably $7 an hour, and she worked for me 40 hours a week as a single woman with no kids. Y'all, I had help from the jump, and she every day had things to do. I know people that have no help, and I don't get it. I've always had help. I don't have anybody working for me full time now, and they don't come in the office, but now we've got all this virtual world and it's different, but I still have help at every step. A risk, investing in my business early on. Now we have Voxer, which is, what do you pay, $29.99 a year? Well, we had something called VoiceTel. And I remember there were months that I paid $1,600 for that. My meeting fee, I was paying. I had to sell because Mary Kay Ash, here it is. Can you believe that I had a private meeting with Mary Kay? One of the things that Mary Kay Ash wanted every director to do is for us to be able to pay for your business expenses from your sales. So, just from the expense of meeting in person, the expense of those plane tickets, I sold all of that so that I then could live off of my director checks. And that is why I knew that I was committed to creating director checks that were $3,500, $5,000, then $7,000, on and on and on, so I could make it happen. I never missed an event. My mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. She's whole and healthy. She had a partial mastectomy during seminar. That's the only Mary Kay event or retreat that I ever missed. I canceled that. I missed one retreat that Marilyn Valella did, and she did it when I was in the Holy Land in 1999. So in my entire career, I've only missed 2 events. That was a risk, and it always was not easy. My why, you guys, as I said, my why was credit card debt. My why was my mother's diagnosis and us deciding that she wanted to do holistic treatment and I needed to pay for that. My why was as a single parent, not a single parent, a single, being single with no kids and an only child. My dad was downsized and he was fired, and his ex-wife wrongfully accused him of something, and he had um, he literally lost everything. He lost his job, and then he left his home and everything so that he could totally remove himself from that situation. God rest his soul. And my dad literally never had to get a job after that. He became my back office assistant as we built our national area, totally exonerated of everything, praise God, of being wrongfully accused. And it was an absolute blessing to be able to remove that stress from my dad. At 67, he took his last breath. And one of the things that I knew that he would know is his baby would be okay. It was a blessing to be able to say, Dad, you don't need to go get another job. He was 55 and challenging for a man, African American man, aircraft engineer, to then go and seek another job. And so, y'all, there were so many. The why is so important. I wanted this for my family. What did I learn? Is when it's on you, you can either sink or you can swim. But what God initiates, He will sustain. So if you try to do it by yourself, I love everything that Mary Kay Ash has said. There's one thing that I do tweak: not taking God as my business partner, making Him the whole CEO. What He initiates, He will sustain. I knew I could always go get another job. I knew that I couldn't win without help. And there were plenty of people out there that them helping me win would feed them. There are a lot of people that prefer to work in the background than in the front, right? I learned the importance of being duplicatable. I remember spending time with Rena Tarbett. I drove her around so many times. If you don't know who she is, oh my gosh, ask one of the legacy people in your life who she was. And spending time, I remember being at Linda Tupin's home also. And one of the dominant questions that they both asked me is, how duplicatable are you? It's one thing to use your charisma or your natural competency for the business to make it work for you, but can you duplicate that in other people? And so I learned that I wasn't good at that, and I got really good at that. So I stopped doing things all different ways. I wanted to create systems that were easily duplicatable. If every time you do something, people go, wow, you're so good. Well, that's great, but can other people be that good too? So that was important. I learned what happened in my business when I took a risk was that I won. I won some and I lost some, but my ups they were going like this. My ups and downs were there, but my downs were becoming higher than my ups. Y'all, some people say the Cadillac's not everything. It was everything. I needed Cadillac income. And so I learned that from building my team past 50 was essential. But I got to 100 so quick and have been well over 100 my entire career and as a unit, because that is what it took just to pay my bills, y'all. I learned that I could come back. I could be a part of the comeback club. happily married, amazing husband who I met because of Mary Kay. But as a single woman, I had a really challenging relationship where I um, had to flee from a situation in the middle of the night, and that whole process caused my business to take a dive. I was so distracted. And I remember my face being on the Cadillac brochure, and I was no longer in a Cadillac. Well, I learned that I could come back from anything, even my lowest, most challenging moment. Had nothing to do with my Mary Kay business, but when your head is all jacked up, it can jack up your home based business. And so I learned that a setback is a setup for a comeback. And I learned that those lows or those challenges, if I didn't share with anyone but up, but now I get to talk to everyone about it because it causes you to be qualified to coach women in all different situations and how to come back and how to make this the next 6 months your best 6 months, how to win big. Are you seeing this, y'all? Are you seeing this? I just happened to get mail from the company. I'm doing an event, and I just happen to have this jewelry. Just happen to have this jewelry here. Is this unbelievable? I know y'all have seen it, but you know what? The money in Mary Kay is just a measure of the pleasure you send into other people's lives. But winning in this business, it's pretty cool that we get things to show for it. Conversational pieces. I wish I pulled out every one of the 40 carats of diamonds that I've earned from Mary Kay, because some people look at those and they just see a big old gaudy ring, which I say it's only gaudy if you ain't got it. But some people look at it, I look at it, and I see stories of people's lives, the differences. Oh my gosh, I remember my very first $300,000 bar pin. And I remember the doorbell ringing all throughout the day because people were bringing cash for their order. And on my apartment floor was cash for this person's $180 order, and this person's $600 order, and this person's $15 order, and everyone who was contributing. And I remember driving that to the Delta Dash and putting it on the airplane and having someone pick it up from the airport and drive that into the distribution center, and then calling director information and hearing the recording that we had crossed over and we had hit our very first unit club. You guys, taking risks, it's sweet. Honestly, I mean, when you listen to people at the latter part of their life, as they reminisce and think about their life, they think about those times, that not the smooth coasting times when everything was easy, but those times they had to exercise muscle and they became victorious. That's what makes a sweet story. Who wants to watch a movie and the whole movie is just about my boring life? No one wants to watch that. It's always a victory story, a comeback, an obstacle that was overcome. And so you are capable of doing big things. We're so grateful. And I tell you, as I sit here and look and think about this meeting, when Mary Kay said, what I want for all of my daughters is for them to experience all that this business has. Pass it on, be successful, make a difference, be a boss babe. I'm so, so, so excited about all that we've shared, and I hope that I have inspired you to take action and be a boss. Bye-bye.